What's up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. As always, brought to you by BetParx. The morning after the first round of the NFL draft, and with the 31st overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jihaad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama. That's right. They traded up one pick. They gave up one of their draft picks, their second best fifth-round draft pick, but the Eagles get their guy. Good morning to everybody out there watching live on YouTube, our 8 a.m.ers, INSK Red, Randy. Good morning, everybody. Hello. Happy day 2 of the NFL draft. If you're up early and you watched all the picks last night as I did, you probably look like crap this morning as I do. Yes, the heavy bags under the eyes, and then the first round was over, and then I was laying in bed thinking about the versatility of this Eagles defense. This is unbelievable. All right, so what do we think about the pick? Sitting there all night, waiting. Like I guess an interesting draft. There was some fireworks at the top of the draft. The Giants traded up and got a quarterback. We'll talk about all those things before we get out of here. But as the picks were happening, you're like, it doesn't feel like there's going to be a lot of interest. Once Jackson Dart, the Giants traded up and got Jackson Dart, then you're like, all right, it doesn't feel like there's going to be a team that wants to jump up to 32 to grab a quarterback. So is there going to be interest in, I started to feel as it got closer to the Eagles pick that the Eagles were just going to make their pick. And they actually didn't. They traded up one spot because there was a player that was there that they wanted. Jihaad Campbell, who Howie Roseman had said during his press conference after the pick was made late last night, he had said they were trying to trade up in, I think, the 22. They were trying to trade up to get him because they had him as a top 10 player. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, and a lot of the draft people have talked about how this was one of these drafts where there's a consensus top 4 or 5 players, and after that, it's a crapshoot, right? Like you may have a player top 10 that ends up falling to you at 30, 31, 32. That's exactly what happened with the Eagles. We'll talk about where he's going to play with the Eagles, but Campbell's is from Alabama. He was widely considered a top 10 player by some teams, but there was the average mock. What's the name of the mock service that does this? But they round up all of the mocks, and he was 20. So if you put every mock draft in there, the consensus was, or the average draft position was 20. So yeah, he fell much later, in large part due to a shoulder concern. I know Tony Pauline, who is a longtime NFL insider that normally has really good information, had said, and I'm quoting here, the situation is worse for Alabama linebacker Jihaad Campbell, who I'm told has been red flagged over shoulder injuries that could disrupt his rookie campaign. Howie discussed it afterwards. He said that he wouldn't really commit, but it didn't seem like that they were all that particularly concerned about the shoulder injury. So this is the first time since 1979. Jerry Robinson, hello. They finally drafted a linebacker in the first round since 1979. But is he really off the ball? Is he really an off-the-ball linebacker? Because that's really what it is. In today's game, if you draft an outside edge rusher that's classified as a linebacker, is it really a linebacker? The difference is that he's played linebacker, and he played linebacker at Alabama. So last season, really a dominant season, and almost one of these Zach Bond type years. All SEC first team, 117 tackles, 11 and a half tackles for a loss, 5 sacks. 5th in the SEC for total tackles, was a semifinals for the Butkus Award for the nation's best linebacker. So here's what I think happened. And maybe the shoulder injury concerned some teams, but if he was considered like a middle of the first round linebacker. So if some teams didn't view him as an edge rusher and just viewed him as a linebacker, he doesn't have the same type of value. The off-the-ball linebackers in the NFL and 4-3 defenses are not valued like an edge rusher, like a 3-4 rush linebacker. They're just not. Not that he couldn't be a first-round draft pick, but he's just not valued there. And the pocket of the position that he was thought to be drafted, once you get into that area, and in particular in this draft, teams have guys targeted that are like, wow, like he's still available. So even though they may have liked Campbell, there's other guys that maybe like Howie and the Eagles that had him a top 10 pick. Guys fell, and you kind of lose sight of them. Then you have teams like the Giants that are targeting a quarterback. And then you have other teams that are really drafting for need. And I think you saw that quite a bit last night. Like the Cowboys with a really high draft pick, they drafted need along the offensive line. And it wasn't need. And I'm okay with drafting for need, but the Eagles didn't really have a need. They wanted the best player available. And they love this kid, who, by the way, is a local kid. Ariel, New Jersey, which is Gloucester County, right next to Washington Township, I think. I had to Google it because I had no idea where that was. He finished his high school ball. He went down to the IMG Academy in Florida, which is where a lot of prospects go to try to elevate their status. And then he went to Alabama. So where is he going to play in the pros? And with Nakobe Dean being injured, and you have Zach Bond, who is your well paid and your obvious starter at linebacker, is he a starter for Dean until Dean comes back? Then what do you do with him, right? So I think there's a possibility he does start off at linebacker, but here's really what I believe the Eagles have done. And I'm going to read from Howie Roseman's press conference late last night that you probably didn't see. So the question was from our own Zach Berman, shout out to Zach, is he going to start off with defensive ends, outside linebackers coach Jeremiah Washburn, or with inside linebackers coach Bobby King? So in other words, how do you plan to use him? This is Howie. I think we will go through that here, but this is a guy who was recruited from IMG at Alabama as an edge rusher, hand-in-the-dirt edge rusher. They had some injuries at Alabama. They played him off the ball. You see his explosiveness and his speed, and really, it's kind of interesting, and we talked about this a lot. You see Penn State give them a lot of credit for what they've done. They've had guys off the ball move to edge rushers. Obviously, their last two guys who have been drafted really high, they started off the ball, and they moved to edge rushers. So real fast, Abdul Carter, 3rd overall. Micah Parsons, should have been 3rd overall, right? Like prolific pass rushers, started off the ball as linebackers, not as edge rushers. They started off as linebackers. Weak side, will linebacker, middle linebacker. And then when they saw the skill set, Parsons in the pros and Abdul Carter his last season at Penn State, they made them defensive ends or outside edge rushers. And you see what happens, right? That's what they're doing here. More Howie. Vic does a tremendous job. He's talking about Vic Fangio. Vic does a tremendous job with getting guys who have pass rush ability to be versatile like that. I think what's really fun is that those guys who have that versatility can go out on the edge and get pressure as a rusher, and he's got speed. He's got power as an edge rusher. He was trained as an edge rusher. And then he's got versatility to play off the ball and blitz from a depth and play in space in pass coverage as an off-the-ball linebacker. And so it's the things that you can do and keep all these players on the field. So for us, we always want to improve the front seven, and we view him as a front seven player who's got incredible versatility and a skill set to do both of those things. And the appeal is he's got this rush skill set, and he's 21 years old. He turned 21 February 24th, so he's got an upside to grow and get bigger, and his frame is such that you can put on more weight and more strength. And so you can tell we're excited about the player. Everything, Tyler Zulli, good morning to you, that Howie Roseman said right there is, we see him as an edge rusher for our team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, good morning to you as well. I think that this was one of those picks where you look around Twitter and you see people are in the Howie Roseman did it again mindset, right? Where it's like, you guys, talking about every other team in the league, you guys let a ridiculously talented player fall to the Eagles. Now, injury concerns probably played a part in that for sure. But the one thing I have noticed with the Eagles over the last couple of years, John, are you familiar with the RAS score, the relative athletic score?
Yes.
So Math Bomb, Kent Lee Platt is the guy who does all the RAS scores. And so I went and looked at what Jihaad Campbell's RAS score was over and then I went and looked at what like the rest of the Eagles players' RAS scores over the last couple of years. This is Jihaad Campbell's RAS score, and for those that may not be familiar with it, he has a 9.88. It's a grade out of 10. It's a 9.88. He ranked as the 41st ranked off-ball linebacker of over 2,100 linebackers that have been rated and scored since 1987. He ranked as the 41st highest RAS score. And so I went and I said, what did the Eagles do over their last couple of years? Because it feels like the Eagles love drafting high athletic type of players over the last couple of years. Jordan Davis was a 10 out of 10. Milton Williams was a 9.96. Cooper DeJean, 9.85. Quinyon Mitchell, 9.79. And then you've got some guys who haven't had as much success, like a Johnny Wilson or a Sidney Brown. But then you go to Cam Jurgens, 9.66. You get my point. Jalen Hurts was a 9.5.
They're looking at this.
They're looking at this relative athletic score as a tool. And I think some teams use it a lot. And I think back in the day, and maybe not even so far ago, it was like the Raiders take the fastest guy. That was always a Raiders pick, right? Let's just take the burner. That's how Darius Hayward-Bay goes number 8 overall. But I think that these metrics are all put together in a way that allow teams to use these to their advantage. And the Eagles are one of them. The Colts do it. These teams love high RAS score guys, and the Eagles have had a ton of success with a lot of their draft picks over it. And it makes a ton of sense that a player that fell, maybe had a little bit of injury concern, you're not quite sure how long it's going to be till he's 100%, falls to 31, and Howie Roseman goes, yep, we're moving up one spot. We'll give up a 5th. That's our guy.
Sure. Yeah, so someone had, I think it was Provolone Jean, had asked in the chat, well, explain why they traded up to 31. Obviously, Howie was, I can't wait to see what the video that they put out. If they were interested in trading up for him in the 20s and they couldn't get a deal done, now you're sitting at 32. If there was interest from other teams in the Chiefs, and maybe the Chiefs bluffed them and said, listen, there's teams that are like, we're going to make a trade here, and we don't really want to fall out of the first round, but like there's teams calling about this. If you're Howie, what do you like? You give up a 5th round draft pick. Who cares? Pick 164.
They have 4 of them.
Yeah, it was their second best 5th round draft pick. If the kid's a stud, who cares? Right? They don't have a ton of draft picks left. That could change with some moves that they would make, but I love it. I love it. Smart. So why risk someone jumping you and taking the player that you want?
You think about the picks that the Eagles gave up to go get Cooper DeJean to move up to 40. So obviously Mike Sanders-Still was the corner that the Commanders ended up taking instead of that pick at 40. The other picks that they got were 78 and 152 in that draft. Was 53 and 161. The Eagles got 78 and 152 back.
Right.
Do you know who was taken at 61 or at or 53 or 161?
No.
It was
nor do I care.
Ben Sinnott, a tight end out of Kansas State. And at 161, it was Dominique Hampton, a safety from Washington.
Right.
The Eagles got Cooper DeJean.
Right. And even if they drafted a good player in one of the picks, when I'm watching Cooper DeJean with a pick 6 in the Super Bowl,
right.
It doesn't matter.
And I think they did. Like, I was not a big Mike Sanders-Still fan because I thought he was a little bit slow to play corner in the NFL, and he was really good in his rookie year.
Yeah.
Wasn't as good as Cooper DeJean.
No. Yeah, it's worth it to get your guy. So I am once again, the Eagles are running the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. They get their guy. According to Ian Rappaport, they were trying to trade up to 22 when the Chargers were on the clock, but no deal was made. Then they moved up a spot with Kansas City, and they gave up a 5th round draft pick. So who the hell cares? They got their guy, and it's clear that they plan on using him. He might start off or may play some off the ball linebacker. They're excited to use him as an edge rusher. Everything they're telling you is they look at him as an edge rusher. And believe me, Vic Fangio, his fingerprints and his eye is all over this defense right now. Zach Bond last year, it feels like a throwaway line at this point where we say, oh, the Eagles don't value linebackers. No, the Eagles value linebackers. They showed that with Zach Bond, and whether or not he's an edge rusher or he's a linebacker, they just used a 1st round draft pick on a guy that is 6'3", 235 pounds. When you watch, because I'm telling you, I did minutes of research on his tape on YouTube this morning, Tyler. Minutes.
Extensive work by you.
Man, I spent a lot of time.
You put Fran to shame.
Like he stands out. And you're talking about a defense that has a ton of athletic players on it. Man, he's long, he's fast, he gets off of blocks. He is, I mentioned the tackles for losses, 11.5 tackles for losses. I watched every one of them on this YouTube reel. Man, he gets in the backfield. He is, again, we're talking about like, right now the Eagles are in a window. And by the way, this portion of the program brought to you by GLAT Hair Restoration. GLATHairMM.com, 610-980-4000. The lettuce is looking good today. Thank you very much, GLAT Hair Restoration. But right now, everybody on offense for the Eagles is making a lot of money, right? So everybody on the offensive line is getting paid. Jalen's getting paid. Devontae's getting paid. A.J. Brown's getting paid. You can do that when everybody on defense, Quinyon Mitchell first, entering his second year, not making money. Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, all these young players on defense. Now you got another guy on defense that's going to be making the rookie contract for 5 years now, to where now maybe Jordan Davis doesn't get re-upped because you're going to have to pay so much money to Jalen Carter, and he's got position versatility. It's like, you know what? Maybe he's not an edge rusher. Bond's gone in 3 years. He's your next Zach Bond. So this has been good. I saw the same thing. John Letterman brought up the Mina Kimes had said that this was a steal. And she was saying this weeks ago.
Well, and that's the thing. She said it before the draft. Her words were something like, whoever gets Jihaad Campbell, it's going to be a steal.
Yep.
And so it wasn't like a post, wow, the Eagles got him, what it take. And that's probably true too. But it was one of those things where she's like, this kid's going to be good. And whoever gets him is walking away with the steal of a player.
Yep. Pretty crazy. So all in all, good night. Honestly, now you have 64. So what sucks about winning the Super Bowl, the one thing that sucks about winning the Super Bowl is that you pick at the end of every round before the comp picks come in. So you're picking 64, 96 tonight. And then you have the fourth and then 3 fifth-round draft picks. Howie probably makes some moves, maybe gets some picks, maybe gives up a future pick or whatever. I need a tight end in the second round. That is my wish list, Tyler Zulli. I need a tight end. I don't know if our guy from Bowling Green is going to last all the way. I don't know if the Eagles have somebody that they have circled that they might move up to try to get. But I would love to see one of the tight ends. The Arroyo kid from Miami that Fran's been talking about for weeks, he's probably going to be gone unless you trade up. So I am, I really want a tight end.
Yeah, I think so. The two that we expected to get drafted last night were Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren, and they did, and they went 10 and 14, I think. But the other guys, you brought up Arroyo, right? Like Mason Taylor was the one who was kind of shooting up draft boards late in the process and was maybe a fringe first-round pick. He doesn't get drafted. Arroyo's available. Fannon's available. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you could talk about like the Gunnar Helms from Texas, those type of guys. Like there are still a lot of good tight ends left. The two premier ones were going to always be gone, and it was never going to be like if Warren or Loveland fell to like 22, where you're talking about moving up, I think Howie Roseman would have sniffed around to try to make a move.
Sure.
But those two guys always felt like they were going to be gone. But there are still some quality tight ends, probably tight end 2s to start. But there's still some quality tight ends in the next couple of days.
Yep, for sure. The Giants trade up for Jackson Dart, and my buddy's a Giants fan, and so we're on the text chain last night, and he's being like, they got to trade up for a quarterback. And I'm telling him, like, everything I've read says that they do not like Shedeur Sanders, who didn't get drafted in the first round. Like, Dayball is not a Shedeur Sanders guy. And he's like, well, who are they? Like, Jackson Dart. And he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. He was a third-round draft pick until everybody gets caught up in him being this great arm talent and everything else. But the Giants traded up, so they get Abdul Carter, they get Jackson Dart. If Dart can play, that's a hell of a draft for the Giants. So, they gave, to trade up to go from the second round to 25 from 34, they gave up a third round in 2026, the 99th overall pick, to trade up, to move up 9 spots for Jackson Dart. now you have Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, poor Tommy Cutlets. Probably had to go get a primo hoagie after they made that trade to wallow in his food. Poor Tommy Cutlets. Maybe he can be on the practice squad or whatever. All right, Violations Greg is going to come in, and we'll discuss his thoughts on the draft. We do have to mention, like a little bit of a mention before we get out of here about the Phillies, because they start a weekend series in Chicago as they got swept by the New York Mets. Not great. Violations Greg, more thoughts on the draft. What are we looking for today? And also, how about the Browns trading out at number 2? I'll give you my thoughts. We'll give our thoughts on that coming up right after this. It's Philly with John Marks. Don't go anywhere. Hoo-ah. All right, listen, TrueMark Financial Credit Union. All right, folks, it is Financial Literacy Month. That's right. So check this out. And I've talked about this before because I got my kids signed up for the free Greenlight account. If you're a TrueMark Financial member like me, this is an opportunity to teach your kids and your teens financial literacy, I guess you could say, right? They learn to earn, save, and spend with the Greenlight account. It's not just an app. It's a game changer. Whether you're setting savings goals, learning how to track their spending, or even getting an allowance right at their fingertips. So on the app, I can set an allowance which goes from my account to my kids' account, and they just have to complete it. So every Friday, if they've done what they're supposed to do, and let's face it, even if they don't do what they're supposed to do, because my kids never do what they're supposed to do, I give them, they get $10 deposited in their account for their allowance. It's awesome. They learn how to budget. They're building real-world money skills, and I stay in control of it, and they can go right on their iPads, and they can look at it. It is really, really cool. They even get a debit card. So like they get such a kick out of like, oh, like mommy for her birthday, I want to get her this. I'm like, well, you have your debit card. Let's go on Amazon and do it. It's really, really cool. So if you're looking for a way to teach your kids some financial plays this Financial Literacy Month, it's really, really cool. Go to TrueMark.com/Greenlight to get all the details and to sign up today. TrueMark.com/Greenlight. Hoo-ah! All right, listen. Our baseball team here in Philadelphia has lost 9 of their last 14 games, 4 in a row. And I was betting the money line on them all last week. Like, they're not getting swept by the Mets. They got swept. Oh, how about we put our baseball lives in the hands of Taijuan Walker, who gets to start tonight in Chicago. Live bet on Philadelphia baseball, golf, and the pro hoops and hockey playoffs. Live betting is better on the BetParx app. You can bet individual player performances in baseball, like player hits, home runs, RBI, strikeouts, and much more. The BetParx online sportsbook and online casino app has you covered. So whether you're betting Philadelphia baseball or whatever, there's always another way to win on the BetParx sportsbook and online casino app. The only app I would ever recommend to play all of my favorite games. All my favorite casino games. How about live dealers? That's right. Blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, and hot online slots. That's right. And check it out. All new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Go to BetParx.com, download the app right now, and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play, you play to win. You bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hoo-ah. What's that, Tyler Zulli?
Yeah, so you said that you're putting your lives in the hands of Taijuan Walker, who's going up against a Cubs team that leads Major League Baseball with over almost 6.3 runs scored per game. They are first in baseball by about 9/10 of a run per game. So you're thinking about, and granted, they've played more games, which is actually, I guess, more impressive, right? If they've played more games than almost everybody else, because they had the series in Japan to start the year. They're basically 2 games up on everybody. 6.27 runs per game for the
what could
the Cubs.
possibly go wrong?
6.67 over their last 3, and they average 6.82 at home.
Yeah,
so
listen,
they score a lot.
Doesn't sound ideal. Kyle Tucker's been killing it. He's hitting like 320. He's got a bunch of stolen bases. He's got a bunch of home runs. I just want to say this right now. Let's not do what we did with Juan Soto last year. I've already seen a lot of people saying like, oh, well, they're going to get Kyle Tucker this offseason. No, they are not. The Phillies, man, listen, if they can make trades and clear a lot of space and they want to pay $600 million to a player, I'd love to have Kyle Tucker. But let's not do this to ourselves again. They would have traded for him. They would have made a trade. All right, maybe it would happen. But yeah, what could possibly go wrong with Taijuan Walker in Chicago? It's actually not. They must not have a good starter going today because the Phillies are the Phillies are plus 120. The Cubs are only minus 141.
I think it is Colin Rea today.
He must stink.
Is starting. So he was with Milwaukee last year. Actually, Rea has pitched okay so far this year.
Oh, so it's a 220 today. Nice.
Yeah, 220 start today.
So I'll be picking up the kids. I'll be listening to the game on the radio as Violations Greg joins us, who's probably a little blurry-eyed this morning after the draft late last night. Hello, VG.
What's up, man? What's up?
What's going on?
It's a late one last night.
Man.
Tough for you. No?
Sometimes you plan accordingly. You drink the coffee, have a cup of coffee once the draft starts, so then you're going a little bit, feeling good, fold laundry, things like that. Yeah, making sure the kitchen's clean. Oh, dude, I like my laundry folding skills. I'm telling you.
Yeah, are you a quick shirt folder?
Well, I'll just say from when I started my journey here, probably when I stopped working at WIP, where I became the primary laundry folder and everything else because I'm home more now. Like I'm just saying, my development pretty incredible.
All right, you rock solid with your skills.
Man,
you're like a trad husband.
And here's the other thing: my wife's jealous because I'm more efficient with the laundry.
Yeah,
she's the type of person that wants to do it like, oh my god, I have 9 loads of laundry and it's Saturday. I don't play that game. I just do laundry 5 or 6 days a week. I do a load. I do
every day.
I do a load or two. There's at least one day, maybe 2 days a week that I don't do any laundry.
All right,
but I would rather just do a load and then fold it and put it away right away. Don't leave it in a basket. And then I'm done for the day.
Right.
It doesn't take very long. You know, efficiency. Like I have a plan. I'm not going to I'm not going to stress myself out and have laundry piled up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Because you got a bunch of kids. 3?
Goddamn kids.
It's a lot of laundry.
Oh my God. No, and they all wear 3 outfits a day too.
Why?
Because they do.
That's a thing?
Yeah, my 3-year-old comes downstairs last night. We're going to Target. And she's got she's got another dress on. It's your 3rd outfit today. What are you doing?
Like share with these.
That's
these
going back in your drawer. Like, no, I'm not washing that. My wife's like, well, she can't wear it to Target and you don't wash it. I'm like, yes, she can. You think I'm washing that?
She's not working up a sweat at Target. She can wear it to Target. Re-wear it.
But like, I can wear a pair of jeans. Who washes their jeans after one use?
I used to.
Not me.
I learned that the jean manufacturers tell you not to.
They don't want you to do it.
Yeah. So
you're not getting in bed with a pair of jeans and sleeping.
I'm not going to. I did have a friend who used to go to the gym in jeans, but I don't go to the gym in jeans.
The guy that shows up to the gym in jeans and work boots is a psychopath, and I guarantee you he's about to go bench 320.
Yeah, that's my
because they're just like naturally scary strong. Because like more times than not, they do like a blue collar job or something, right? And they just show up in their jeans and work clothes, and they're just throwing up.
Right.
Yeah.
225 easy. That's like light
my buddy
work
would do like 8 curls with like 85 pounders with his jeans on.
Does he smoke cigarettes when he does it too? I mean, he might as well.
No, he smokes other things for his workouts to enhance it.
Oh, like Arnold. Arnold used to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no.
My buddy swears by it.
Google it. Yeah. He's smoking. Arnold back in like the 70s. He was smoking joints while he was working out.
Yeah, people say it's good for that.
Because you're like concentrating on each rep or whatever. I wouldn't be going to any gym.
Yeah, I don't like working out.
Smoking weed. All right, VG, your thoughts
on the
Eagles?
The Phils? Oh, the Eagles. Love it, man.
Phils,
they got the Eagles got a linebacker in the first round and the best linebacker in the draft. I'm in.
All right, so just keep
another SEC kid. Yeah.
Tyler was talking about this earlier. When Howie went to hey, I'm just going to draft Alabama and Georgia players. Hell, it's worked, man. Like, why not?
It's been lights out.
It's been great. So I read the transcript of Howie last night after the game. I wasn't watching it. I was probably still awake.
Okay.
And everything that he says about Campbell is they drafted him to be Micah Parsons. They drafted him to be an edge rusher. He was recruited out of high school as an edge rusher, and then in Alabama, they had injuries, and they're like, hey, you can play right now as an off-the-ball linebacker, and he did, and he excelled at that, especially last year. But like you can tell, and if it doesn't end up being that, and he's a linebacker, and he's more like a Zach Bond than a Micah Parsons or an Abdul Carter, but he spoke about it even in what he was talking about Campbell, he spoke about how the two Penn State players that were drafted high were linebackers to start, and then they were converted into being hand in the ground defensive end edge rushers.
All right.
So I totally think that that's what this draft was about.
Well, I think he's the versatility. They like that. He can do it all.
Absolutely.
He was, I was reading, he was the top edge rusher in his high school class. So, yeah, do whatever you want.
6'3", 235. He could probably, I wish I could do this, put on 15 pounds of muscle where now he's playing at 250.
Yeah. And you got to trust Fangio. Fangio likes him. So, yeah, I'm all in.
Trust Howie.
I trust Fangio.
You don't
The linebackers?
No, I know, but also trust Howie.
When's the last time Howie got lucky with a linebacker? Zach Baun, because of Fangio. So I trust Fangio.
Nakobe Dean ended up being
He's okay.
He's okay, I agree.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying in general, Howie has, he's figured out this whole draft thing, man.
Yes. I trust. I think we discount the front office, the other scouting guys.
Sure.
Yeah. The whole scouting department's been locked, laser locked and loaded since Jalen Reagor.
I don't, that really was the pivot point, right?
Yeah.
Like, they totally effed that up.
Yep.
So, a lot of people, and this is being explained to me by people internally, not that Howie's not scouting players, and not that he's but what he's learned to do is trust his guys that actually have an eye for this kind of stuff, right? And then you're taking all the information and you're determining what we're going to do. So it's not that Howie didn't love this kid, but this really is he's the final decision maker, but Jeffrey Lurie's involved in the decision.
Yeah.
I don't know, Sirianni.
And they used to get a little too cute before.
They got way cute.
Right,
before.
so they don't get cute anymore. They just do it.
Does
They just do the
Sirianni
obvious.
knew who they picked? Is he involved in the decision? Was he? Did he say, who do we take?
I have no idea what's going on.
He's involved in it.
Yeah, maybe.
He's there for it. But yeah, it's so now you look at this defense, dude. And I mean, I remember last year just salivating when you look at the ages of these guys.
Yeah.
Everybody's young, everybody's fast, everybody's strong, everybody
comes from winning programs, big time programs.
big time winning programs. They play with an edge.
Yeah.
Right? When you're looking to build a defense, not just a defense that's good enough or a good defense, a dominant defense like we saw last year, they just added another piece.
Yeah.
A Swiss Army knife.
Totally. And these guys have the mentality where, they got to be on their game because there's another recruit behind them who's going to take their job. So they're good competition. They're used to playing in pressure games. You can't go wrong. You had to go to bed happy last night as an Eagles fan.
Oh, man.
And there's a ton of guys they still on the board.
All right, we'll talk about that for a second. Put up INS's comment there in the live chat. He says, Reagor equals the discovery of penicillin. It's a good line.
Yeah, well, it was that clip of the Vikings laughing at them. That changed everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
It did.
The
And
best thing that's happened to us as Eagles fans.
What are we doing? Why are we taking a TCU wide receiver when this kid from LSU that's proven on the college level, we were overthinking stuff?
Yes.
And then you know what he did? Because this was everybody was saying, just draft the players from Alabama.
Yeah.
Just draft the players from Georgia. So he did it.
Sometimes we're right as fans. We're idiots a lot of times, but sometimes we're right.
We knew what we were talking about.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, that Howie out survived that entire room. Everybody in that Vikings war room that was laughing at them has been since fired.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Mike Zimmer, who was
I don't mind the Zims. I like him.
F him. Is he still with Dallas? Is he still DC at Dallas?
I don't know.
mean,
he's
he's
a good D coordinator.
No, I think he's like a senior assistant or something. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. The hell with him. All right, so now you're sitting there. You gave up the 4th round draft pick to move up one spot. So now you're sitting there today. So you have rounds 2 and 3 tonight. Pick 64, pick 96 if they stand pat and they don't move around. What are you looking for? What do you need out of day 2 of the draft?
They need a tight end.
Greg? Boom, that's what I said.
I mean, that's what they need. And there's 2 or 3 still left that are nice.
Harold Fannin Jr. had 115 catches last year from Bowling
he can't
Green.
block a lick. He's like a Zach Ertz, but I'm good with that.
Let Jack Stoller, one of those slugs.
Slugs. Don't throw my Paisan Calcaterra in with the slugs.
No,
guy's got good hands.
Calcaterra's another good.
He's okay.
He's a good number 2 to catch.
Yeah.
I don't think they draft a tight end. I think they go with. I think they're not going to be great with the tight end position this year.
Yeah, they're going to have somebody other than.
Well, they signed 2 guys in free agency.
Yeah, they're coming out with a rookie. They're coming out of this draft with a tight end, dude. If they're
Okay,
not,
but if you take one in the
practice, if they do not and they lose Goddard.
But if they take one in the 5th round,
no. Well, 5th round, there's a guy from Syracuse you probably get in the 5th round who's pretty decent. My buddy from who went to Q's all hyped him up on me, and I was watching some of his highlight stuff. I don't know his name, but
so you did minutes of research on him?
yeah, I did Probably like 6 or 7 minutes. Solid.
That's what I did with Campbell
Solid minutes, locked in.
this morning. That's what I did with Campbell.
Yeah.
I did. I went right on YouTube. I know everything about him, man. It's great. Lots of research.
You wanted to be a math major. I love that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Love smart guys on.
What kind of research you do? I did like 3 minutes. I found out you wanted to be a math major. You didn't dig that up?
But I didn't look. No, that's not what I was looking at.
All right.
I was looking at actually the Eagles put out a highlight.
Surprise! Spadaro loved the pick.
Ooh, man!
Surprise!
A lot of people, yeah. All right. So there's that, and
There's that.
Wait, what else? What else are you looking for? I've seen like
I want O-line. I need an O-lineman. You got to get some depth there. Tight end, O-line. Anything else is gravy. Back? Yeah, running back, sure.
But they drafted Shipley last year.
What's that kid everybody likes? Anthony loves that kid, the running back.
Jaden Blue?
No, he's got the crazy name.
From what school?
He's got the name everybody
Great
likes
detail.
to say.
He's got
name.
A crazy
name.
It's
a wacky name. Everyone loves to say his name. I forget, but that guy.
He's no Jackson Dart.
No.
Anthony loves Cam Scattaboo.
It's Scattaboo. Yeah. That's a Scattaboo.
I'm in.
Yeah, get us a Scattaboo, an O-line depth, and a tight end. We're good.
I'm in on Scattaboo. Are you kidding me? Then you wouldn't have to use Hurts as much as the tush push. You put Scattaboo in there.
This is going to be a draft class where I think in between like the late 3rd and 5th round, you're going to see like 12 running backs get drafted. It's a very deep running back. There's not
day 3. There's going to be a ton of running backs.
It's not a lot of like massive upside past Genty and probably Hampton, but like I think there's still a couple good ones. I think Travion Henderson probably could have been a 1st round pick. Dylan Sampson's pretty good too, but like. You're going to see a lot of guys from like late 3rd to the end of the 5th that are going to go.
Yep. And typically the Eagles have not done well drafting running backs in those rounds. Gainwell was a 5th round draft pick. He was a good part-time player.
He's fine.
But you see teams that pluck starting running backs that are elite, all-pro, Pro Bowl level running backs. They don't need that right now with Saquon Barkley. No. But you also have Shipley, who was a 4th round draft pick last year, so maybe they don't take a running back.
Nice. Nah, I think they get a running back at some point. O-line depth, tight end. They could probably use a safety.
Oh no, they need a safety. They definitely need a safety. The Penn State kid is thought to be 2nd or 3rd round.
Well, Tyler's a Penn State guy. He doesn't love him.
I don't know. I love him as a football player. I'm concerned about him bouncing back from the injury.
Okay.
I love him as a person. That's why I love him as a person.
Spend some time with him.
He seems like a nice guy.
All right.
So he's got an injury, so he might bounce back. Like the first 3 picks, the last however many drafts have been grade A. They're getting starter studs. So
at this point now, when you're Super Bowl champ, though, you just need some depth, right?
Well, you also need guys. You have to look ahead, and you have to be like, okay, is Jordan Davis going to be like? Are we going to be able to pay everybody on that defensive line? Like Milton Williams, you were able to let him leave easily because you have guys that are able to step in.
Yeah.
So like Ojimo, he's going to probably outprice him if he becomes a good player. You need guys to step in by their 3rd year or whatever.
Correct.
Were you a Jackson Dart fan like Anthony?
No, I have seen not one snap of Jackson Dart, but people seem very happy that he's in our division. People are not high on his skills, so
Jackson Dart to me feels like a quarterback desperate team that didn't want to use their top pick because there was nobody worthy of taking a 3 that talked themselves into Jackson Dart. And like he may have all the measurables, maybe he turns out to be a good pro quarterback. Like no worries at all. Like the Giants, that quarterback room, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, and now a 1st round draft pick. What could possibly go wrong with that?
And Cowboys seem to take a reach.
Cowboys reached the 12 with they drafted for need rather than best player there.
Let's go. Jerry at it again.
Yep. Unfortunately, Washington's figured it out and has a good young quarterback and everything.
They're going to be tough.
What else here? What else? What did you think about what Cleveland did at the top of the draft, trading out of 2, getting a?
Yeah, I think they did all right.
I don't like it.
No,
this is weird. I don't like it for either team. Jackson, like I think, like to me, if you're the Browns, I know you want the extra picks and you want everything else. What did you keep Myles Garrett for? If you're now looking at the future, you just paid a 30-year-old defensive end who's a great player, but like why not get a ransom for him if you're really in rebuild mode? Why sign him to that contract? Your teams are ready to give up a lot for him. Now you trade Travis Hunter, who might be the best player in this draft, And now you go down the 5, and you're like, all right, well, now they got a defensive tackle as opposed to a guy that could be a generational two-way player. And for the Jags, do you really want to give up all that draft capital for a team that really needs to be freaking built the right way?
They need a receiver down there. Sunshine
Do
needs
they though?
People. Yeah.
Well, like I like Hunter a lot, but are you giving up a future first-round draft pick? And
You just told me he's the best player in the draft. He's a two-way. He's like a generational player with this two-way stuff.
But if you have Trevor Lawrence, man, not like he sucks. So I mean,
maybe Doug just stunk.
But if I was the Browns, I would have kept the best player in the draft rather than being like, oh well, we get a first-round draft pick next year. Yeah, but you got a defensive tackle.
Why are you stressing out over the Browns?
Because I love the NFL draft.
Do you?
Yes. It's my favorite.
I did not. I never know when I'm coming into this funhouse. I didn't expect to be stressing over Jacksonville and the Browns.
Well, I haven't had a chance to talk about anything other than the draft. Steelers also pass on a quarterback and they take a defensive tackle, stone Steeler move.
Well, there's no good quarterback for them to take at 21.
Well, tell that to Steelers fans. They wanted Shedeur Sanders.
Did they?
No, they
My
didn't.
best friend from college is a Steelers fan. He had no interest in Shedeur Sanders.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is going to save the day for 1 year right there. All right, your Phillies. They're not my Phillies anymore. Violations, Greg. Your Phillies.
Your Phillies in a week.
So this is all I'm going to say. I tried to tell you guys. I tried to warn you.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of people wagging their finger at the beginning of the year, and I was being positive with the Phillies, but it was like, Negadelphia.
What are you warning us about? They got a bad bullpen?
They just won the Super Bowl. Why are we being negative with the Phillies? No, this is a team that needed, and I know they tried, but the worry for Phillies fans coming into the season and why they weren't pumped up for the team was exactly what we've seen so far. A stale lineup, a stale offensive team. And that's what they are.
Yes.
So they're going to be a playoff
the guys
team.
at the top of the lineup are going to hit.
Right. When they play
year.
bad teams and bad pitchers, they'll mash them.
They'll hit against good. It's baseball, brother. It's at the back of the baseball card. It always evens out. Always evens out. Those guys will hit. The bullpen stinks.
Yep.
That's the issue. So
no, the issue is the offense, not the bullpen stinks.
No, the offense will come around. We know that. We've seen it before. We've all seen it before. The offense will be the offense. They'll come around. It's the bullpen pitching. They got some arms coming up that'll be good. And they're really going to have, at the deadline, they're going to have one of the more valuable trade pieces, I think, out there with Ranger Suarez. I don't think he's here after the trade deadline. And they're going to get some nice arms for him. So a nice bullpen arm, a nice closer maybe.
I put him in the bullpen, Ranger Suarez. And that's
what you can get for a starting pitcher that's above average at the trade deadline.
Agreed, but
you load him.
Hopefully, Chris Sanchez isn't hurt, and
Why would you keep him for the bullpen and then just lose him after this season?
Well, because you're trying to win something this year,
yeah.
and Ranger has been great out of the bullpen. And he's versatile, and he's insurance against a starter going down.
Yeah, but he's not like a closer.
No, he's not a closer.
No,
right?
We need a closer.
All right, so you're trading Ranger Suarez.
Yeah,
Ranger
absolutely.
Suarez,
Let's see some
Sanchez.
Nice starts out of him. Trade deadline. Move on from Ranger.
All right,
that's what I would do.
All right, how's your boy Aaron Nola doing?
Look good, man. He's looking good.
He looked good. He put runners on base every inning. He had to work out of a gym every inning but one.
So
no. I love this. Oh, Nola actually pitched well. The freak he did. He got an inning double play. Soto almost clubbed the 3-run homer against him. He was lucky that wasn't gone. He had one inning that was 1-2-3, and then he comes out for the 7th inning. Well, Rob Thompson's an idiot for bringing him out for the 7th inning, by the way.
Did he pitch 6 innings against the Mets and give up 2 earned runs?
No, he gave up 4 earned runs.
No, I'm saying he pitched 6 innings and 2 earned runs. He should not have been there at the 7th. You know that.
Right, because that's the kind of pitcher you have. Is you can't go in the 7th inning without giving it up.
Dude, that's not how it's set up. It should be he pitches 6, and you got Kerkering, Strom, and Alvarado. That's it. That's how it's set up. And maybe Romano. So
his stuff's not diminishing. The velocity's not down because I got finger wagged by you and Anthony about how his stuff's fine. He's not.
Even if his velocity's down a tip or two, he's such a savvy, crafty pitcher, man, with the breaking ball and stuff. Don't worry, you're focused on his velocity, man.
Yeah, I'm focused on his velocity. He's throwing 89.
He's never been a velocity guy.
He's 0-5.
He's like a young Jamie Moyer, man. Jamie Moyer pitched, he's like 47.
Whatever. What do you got coming up with Anthony today?
Draft.
So Fran,
Zach.
We
got Franny, we got Zach, we got Mike Garafolo.
Oh, wow. Love Mike.
I don't know if we got Baldy. And we'll do TV Todd. We'll have the brain, jam-packed on Fridays. We'll be here till noon probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm out of here in about 15 minutes.
Same.
So
We'll catch you. We'll catch you rolling out.
I'll be here for you, VG.
Yeah.
Me and Andrew are here until the end of time.
there you go.
We'll catch you on the way out.
All right, go Birds.
All right, go Birds.
Oh, go Birds.
Thanks,
All right,
John.
there you go.
Thanks, Tyler.
Violations, Greg. I didn't have a foot sander for you today. Sorry. Well, it's because it's the NFL draft. I can't.
I'm just gonna. If that's the case, I'm gonna pretend it's the NFL draft every Friday.
By the way, Baldy said they would just take a razor blade and cut their
Did you? They're talking foot sanding with Baldy. It's awesome. My feet are in much better shape with my foot sander.
I'm really happy for you, John. I really am.
I actually have it in my bag.
Please don't.
But I just didn't get it out. Our BetParx Parlay of the day. We're coming off a win. We're on the plus side, ladies and gentlemen. Big time. BetParx Parlay of the day. We'll talk more about the Eagles draft and more coming up. Don't go anywhere. Philly with John Marks. Don't go anywhere. All right. GLAT Hair Restoration. So as you can tell right now, looking good, like a decent hair day today. So if you're looking for good hair days, and I had some people reach out to me recently and be like, why don't you just shave your head, Johnny Marks? Like, yeah, I could have. I actually did shave my head. We put the before picture up sometimes, and I didn't like the way I looked. So I said, hey, maybe I can salvage the lettuce on my head. And I did. GLAT Hair Restoration. So you can shave your head. It's a good look. It's fine. Yeah, listen, you want to shave your head, knock yourself out. Go for it. I don't care what you do. But if you want to keep your hair, maybe you're like, oh, well, like I don't have that much hair loss yet, but I would love for my hair to stay where it is right now. Or maybe it just get thicker and fuller and things like that. GLAT Hair Restoration are the experts in the industry. Most experience in Philadelphia when it comes to hair restoration. And it really shows. When it comes to hair, and it really shows. In 2025, there's more than just restoration. There's innovation. Vitamin supplementation is very, very popular right now. It's a great option for men and women. PRP and stem cell, the TED procedure, which I have done every year for maintenance, it really, really helps with this part of the head. So when I go every year for my follow-up and we take before and after pictures, when you don't see a difference, when it looks the same as last year, you may think like, oh, well, it's the same as last year. That's a good thing because it means you haven't lost any additional hair. That's what you want. That's a win. GLAT Hair Restoration, their hair team over 30 years of experience. Give their office a call or a text today, 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000 or glathairmm.com, G-L-A-T hair, MM.com. Hoo-ah. All right, let's talk about flooring for a second. Isn't it like new flooring in your home can make such a difference? And there's a lot of options out there. You can go to the big box store and you can look around, or you can do what a lot of our listeners here at PHLY, a lot of our viewers here at PHLY are doing right now, and they're going to Empire Today. Flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals focusing on flooring every single day. All right, they live and breathe flooring. So they're with you every step of the way. It's totally a whole different ball game. So you're not going to the showroom. They bring the showroom right to your home. Like, does that make more sense? To get it in your home so you know what it's going to look like in your home with your furniture, with your space, with your lighting, right? You get precise measurements taken right away so you have all your questions answered. There are no surprises. You get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing, plus you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate because some things are just better at home, and PHLY listeners can receive a $350 discount. Just use the promo code PHLY. PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit Empire Today/PHLY for full details. Empire.com/PHLY for full details. Hoo-ah! All right, we're back. And we'll finish up with some draft talk and maybe mention the Phillies, but it's time for the BetParx Parlay of the day. There it is. See that spiffy graphic right there. All right, so Tyler, you were out yesterday. Andrew Frazier. I said, Andrew, listen, brother, here's what I need from you. I need a soccer pick. Because when he gave us we were in a pinch before, and you're like, you know what, let's try to get a soccer pick from Andrew Frazier. He nailed it. Nailed it.
He did. Yeah, we went to the Premier League, and we went with Chelsea, and they got the win.
Yep. And yesterday he went to some league that was an Italian team.
Italian fourth league.
It was Bologna, and they went over 2.5 goals.
They're part-time pros.
Yep. So I had the Knicks, and I was stupid. I didn't take the money line because the line was 1. They were up by 1. So they're up by 4 points. Tobias Harris hits a 25-foot three-pointer. Now it's a push. And there's like 1 second left. Tobias Harris had 5 points last night, by the way. So he had 2 points before that garbage 3. So he hits a 3. There's like a second left, and they foul Jalen Brunson. So Jalen Brunson is going to intentionally miss the second foul shot, because if he misses the second foul shot, there's literally 0% chance that the Pistons can have a Hail Mary. So it's like he's got to hit the front end. If he hits the front end, they're up by 2, and we win the parlay. Hits the front end, misses the second one. Knicks win by 2, and we win 171. Which puts up Tyler Zilli up 173. We're on the plus side. Listen, we're on the plus side doing a parlay every day of the week. That's impressive.
Can't complain about that.
You can't. What do you got tonight?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to the Mariners-Marlins game tonight, and Logan Gilbert is on the mound for the Mariners. He has 41 strikeouts this year. It's the 7th most in baseball. And I bought the line down a little bit because the 8.5, I chickened out of the 8.5, so I bought it down to 7.5. I'm going to take the over 7.5 strikeouts for Logan Gilbert tonight. He's gone over 7 in 3 of his 5 starts. The other 2, he's had 7. So he's right on par with about 7.5. The Marlins strike out more than every team in the league except the Mariners, who they're playing, the Angels, the Red Sox, and the Yankees, and the Rockies. So they have the 25th most strikeouts, or the 6th most strikeouts, the 25th worst strikeout per 9 record in baseball. So I'm going to take Logan Gilbert over 7.5 strikeouts tonight against the Miami Marlins.
Okay, I like it.
At minus 175, by the way.
Minus 175. So the Milwaukee Bucks are down 2 games to none. Oh, that was a great move, bringing Doc Rivers in to be your head coach and paying him a ton of money. Great job by Milwaukee.
But he gets to game 7. He doesn't get enough credit for winning 3 games.
And that's actually my point and why I'm taking the Bucks tonight, because he wins a lot of game 3s when they're down 2 games to none. He doesn't get swept. The Pacers are up 2 games to none. They're at Milwaukee. I mean, this is the decisive game in the series. This is the game that you can't lose. They're 5.5-point favorites. I ain't going on the point spread. I'm going to take the Bucks on the money line. So the Bucks are minus 230 on the money line. So we're not going to get a big payoff because we're taking 2 pretty big favorites. But this will win us. Where was it? Right here. This will win us. A $50 bet's going to win us $62.73.
Oh man.
So we're wagering 50 to win 62.73, but we're going to do it. Wagering 50 to win 62.73. There you go. That's our BetParx Parlay of the day. Yeah, if the Bucks lose tonight, I don't care, because that means Doc Rivers is down 3 games to none, and that will be fun in itself. So there you go. NBA playoffs have been. I
don't root for a lot of players or coaches like to lose. I mean, other than I root for teams to lose, obviously, but like individual players and coaches, it doesn't really do anything for me.
Me neither.
I enjoy watching Doc lose at this point.
Me too. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, like it's, and I actually like. I hated Doc when he was here, but everybody that I know that works for the Sixers told me Doc's like a really good dude.
Oh yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Doc the human being.
But the ego of this guy, which is like, listen, man, like, you know what? If you don't know what we're talking about with Doc Rivers came out and he was asked about an interview, like, everybody talks about you blowing game 7s and blowing series leads and things like that. And he says, honestly, the fact that I never get swept allows me to blow these leads because we're winning 3 games in the series. Like, that's actually really impressive in itself. I've never been swept. So the fact that I'm taking underachieving teams, and yeah, we may blow a 3-2 series lead, but we're not getting swept even though we're losing the series. He actually, like, in his head, that's an Allen Iverson we talking about practice moment. Because Allen Iverson's head was, we're not talking about the game where I score 45 points. We're talking about practice, man. Not the game, not the game, not the game. In a sick way, I totally understood what Allen Iverson was saying. He's like, I perform in practice. What are we talking about here? Why are you focusing in games? Why are you focusing on practice? Like, come on, man. We're talking about the games where I show up and I'm a great player. That's Doc. It's like, yeah, we might blow a 3-2 series lead, but we're winning 3 games in a series. I'm not getting swept. We're competitive. All right.
And that brought me back to the point when we talked about this originally. I'm like, I almost would rather you get swept. And that's so ridiculous to say, but I almost would rather you get swept because then at least I can say, all right, that team crushed you for 4 games. Like they're clearly a better team than you. You didn't have enough talent, right? But when you blow a 3-2 series lead at home in game 6,
it's amazing it's amazing that Doc actually can sell that it's an impressive thing rather than, hey, you had 2 chances to win the series and you lost.
You blew it, right.
You jabroni. It's unbelievable.
That'd be like Rob Thompson coming out and be like, man, we were a game away from the World Series in 2023. And it's like, I don't want to hear that crap. You guys had a chance to beat a wild card team in game 6 and 7 and you didn't do it. That's on you.
NFL drafts, best available players on the board right now. Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan, who also has some injury issues. That's probably why, well, it's not probably, that's why he slid. Mike Green, the edge rusher from Marshall. You have a couple of other players here that, like the Eagles picking at the bottom of the second round is rough because like unless they're trading up, a guy like Elijah Arroyo, the tight end, probably isn't going to be there. Let me see where Fannin Jr. isn't, at least on the big board that I'm looking at here on ESPN.com.
I think he's going to slide a little bit more than we expect him to because he's a really, really good pass catcher.
Doesn't block.
But he is not a very good blocker. I mean, he's an okay, and I think John Lemmerman put it up earlier, like he's a willing blocker, but he's not particularly great. He's a little undersized.
They actually have 4 tight ends ahead of him as far as this. I guess this is Matt Miller's big board.
So 4, including Loveland and Cole and Warren?
No, the available players.
Really?
Arroyo, Mason Taylor.
That makes sense. I think both those guys.
Agreed. Terrence Ferguson from Oregon, Gunnar Helm from Texas.
Ferguson's an interesting one because like he was really, really successful at Oregon, and much like not much like because Tez Johnson's an undersized small receiver, but like Oregon's offense was predicated to play at the line of scrimmage and to create space at the line of scrimmage. I think Dylan Gabriel had the lowest air yards per throw, or one of the lowest air yards per throw amongst Power 5 quarterbacks last year. It was predicated at creating space at the line and having superior athletes at the line of scrimmage. So Ferguson was one of the few guys that actually had a little bit of downfield depth, even at the tight end position. So I'm interested to see how he translates into an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, Gunnar Helm doesn't sound like a Philadelphia player, right? It sounds like he should be playing in the South somewhere. Gunnar.
He's a Cowboy.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. All right, Tyler, what is the one position you cannot leave this draft without getting?
In its entirety or today? I would like to see another safety.
Clear need.
I know people have talked about Sidney Brown being a guy that they like, and I think he's a really good athlete, but the injuries have mounted. I also think he plays a little bit too much kind of like a missile sometimes, where he's like a little head hunty, if you will, where I think he can get into some trouble that way. I would like to see another safety.
Me too. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's really, you'll be like, oh, offensive line depth, defensive line depth, blah, 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 blah. Like they really, because like right now they're putting a lot of eggs in the Sidney Brown basket. I don't know if they actually believe, like they drafted him. They're going to give him the opportunity.
Well, they call him a red star or something like that. They gave him like Howie Roseman gave him like a term, and I forget what it was, but it was like, we love this kid on and off the field type of thing.
Right.
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, he's going to get every opportunity to take the job, take the position. To me, he looks more like a strong safety from back in like the 90s, a Andre Waters. He's able to cover, but too often, at least what I've seen, he kind of gets sucked down into everything. And so, listen, I hope he succeeds, but it'd be nice to have another relatively high draft pick there to get him. All right, if you're watching on TV, slide on over to allphly.com because we're officially in overtime. All right, last thing here with the draft. Shedeur Sanders not picked in the first round. God, Mel Kiper wouldn't shut the bleep up about it last night. He's yelling, you said the Saints should have taken him at 9. And then he slides and he slides and he slides. Mel Kiper's very high on Shedeur Sanders. I think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL, right? But is he a star? Probably not. Can he be a Kirk Cousins type, efficient, above average starter? Yeah, I think he can be. Do I think he can be a very average starter? Yeah, I do. So normally guys that are like that they're not viewed as having a huge upside. They're high second round draft picks or low first round draft picks. And people will be like, oh, well, Jackson Dart, why is he being drafted in front of Shedeur Sanders or whatever? Well, I mean, the Giants clearly liked his measurables and his arm talent over Shedeur Sanders. I don't think Jackson Dart's going to be a very good pro, but teams evaluate players, and some teams like one player over another, and that's what happened last night.
I'm not so sure any of the quarterbacks past Cam Ward are like, none of them stand out to me in a particular way. They have each have individual skill sets, but I'm not sure outside of Cam Ward, I don't think any of them are day one starters at all. And I'm not so sure what the upside is on most of them. It doesn't feel like a particularly strong quarterback class outside of Cam Ward.
Yeah. I mean, the arm strength's good enough. With Jalen Hurts, even I was guilty of this, being like, does he have, is his arm good enough? Jalen Hurts, he's never going to wow you with making threading the needle throws. The arm strength's fine enough. I think Shedeur Sanders as well. So where does he go?
I think he gets drafted sometime in the first 10 to 12 picks.
Browns?
They have 2 in the top 5 today, I believe, right? 33 and 36. I think the Browns feel like a logical destination. I do think he's probably going to get picked sometime in the top 10 or 12 picks today.
Browns, here's the top of the second round. Browns, Texans, Titans, Browns, Raiders.
So the Raiders might make sense. The Browns have 2. The Titans obviously have already taken their quarterback. They don't need one. The Texans don't need one. CJ Stroud is a legit.
The Saints pick at 40. That's a
possibility.
That's a reasonable destination. Outside of that, I mean, the Eagles took Jalen Hurts after they signed Carson Wentz.
Sure.
So just because a team like the Raiders just signed Geno Smith, or even Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, I'm not telling you they're going to take Shedeur Sanders. Would you be surprised if Jerry Jones took Shedeur Sanders?
I could certainly see it. I think, and the thing with Geno too is Geno did just get signed to a pretty sizable contract, but
it's like 2 years.
Well,
year.
So they traded for him, correct?
Yeah.
And then they have a 2-year deal or something like that along the lines. I forget exactly what the money is.
Yeah, they can walk away after 2 years.
I think that Geno is a vet who's been around for a while. I think he's 32 or 33 at this point. He's closer to the end of his career than the beginning. So they certainly could still draft a quarterback. They get Genty, he'll play right away. Then you can get your quarterback who could sit. And I think for Shedeur to have success, he needs to sit this year.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see because of the quarterbacks that are available. You might actually see if there's a team that's we're really not in on Shedeur. There's a couple of the other guys that are there that are thought to be second round draft picks. So, whatever. All right, so our draft coverage continues here on PHLY. Anthony's live now. The guys did a great job last night. I tuned in for a good bit of it. It looked great. Franny was doing stuff on all of our networks. He was set up in another studio. He was going live to Dallas. He was going live to Chicago. He was going live to Phoenix. So congratulations to our PHLY Eagles and everybody here, man. It was really, really good draft coverage. It continues tonight. It continues on Saturday. So if you're looking for the best Eagles coverage in the business, PHLY. There you go. All right. Everybody have a great weekend. Hopefully the Phillies get off the schneid, and when we're here talking Monday, we're happy with the Eagles draft, and the Phillies win 2 or 3 or something like that. So everybody have a great one. We'll talk to you on Monday. Good weekend. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.